Hi, this is Tom Vineski with the Times Leader Outdoors. I'm here with George Bowers, founder of Fishing for a Cause, a nonprofit charity fishing organization in the area, and we're demonstrating bass techniques for our summer series. Today's technique is George is going to touch on some ways to fish crankbaits and rattle traps. There's a lot to this, so you're going to kind of summarize some things for us and touch on some aspects of this.
Yep.
What are you using first of all?
Today this is a square bill, and basically what it is a square bill that will bounce off logs or rocks or anything like that in the water. It gives a big erratic action in the water, and it'll bounce off something. The main thing with crankbaits is contact. You have to hit something. You have to hit the bottom, you have to hit rocks, you have to hit a dock, you have to hit weeds. It's contact. That's what I always say. So if you're fishing in water, open water, and you're not hitting anything, you're basically you might catch something by accident, but that's not what most of the time. If you get stuck in the weeds, you pull out of the weeds, a fish will grab it. Or if you bounce it off a rock, sooner or later a fish is going to grab it, and that's a big thing with it. A lot of the crankbaits, this is Lucky Crack, you take crankbaits out of the box. First thing you want to do is make sure they have good hooks. Now this is a Lucky Craft. They come with good hooks on them, Gamagazi hooks. I changed the snap ring up on the front because I like to have a little bit more action in mine. It's pretty funny, I actually take these into the bathtub, all the crankbaits that I have, and I probably have 100 of them, and what I do is I submerge them, and I want to make sure that some of them set perfectly still in the water. A lot of time with crankbait fishing too is I'll crank it in, I get so far, and then I'll just let it set there, and then I'll continue cranking again. Some of them are buoyant, so once I stop they'll come right to the top. Some are suspending, which suspend in the water, and I think that's a big key with the crankbaits that people have to realize. Not all the ones you get out that open up a pack and throw them that they're going to work all the time. They might run to the right or they might run to the left, and then you have to adjust the ring in the front of them. You have to turn them to the left or to the right depending on what way it's running. So there is some work you have to do with crankbaits. There's crankbaits $25 a piece. There's crankbaits for $3 a piece. I caught them on both styles. It doesn't matter.
And you said this is a technique that you rely upon heavily during tournaments.
Yep, I like it. It seems like crankbait fishing, you catch bigger fish. You know, when they're on crankbaits, it's tough to beat. You know, but you do have to throw a lot. You know, you got to hit stuff on the bottom. You got to know what certain areas to fish. You know what I mean? So basically, what I'm fishing it with today is a 7-foot rod. This is actually a G Loomis crankbait rod with a Shimano MG reel. What's nice about this is this reel is 5.5 ounces. With the rod, it's very light. I could throw this all day long and not have an issue with my shoulder being sore or my elbow or anything like that with it. I'm running 10-pound test mono on this right now, and again, I like Suffix line, and that's what I'm using on it today is Suffix line. Big thing with crankbait fishing too now, we're trying to hit something. We're on the edge of a weed bed here right today. Is you want to throw it out, and before it hits the water, you want to feather your thumb here. You want to feather that before it hits the water. If not, you'll get backlash. What I mean by backlash, you'll get a big knot in your line at your reel. And once you get it in, what I do is I bring it down, and I'm making contact. Every time I make contact off them weeds, I'm giving a snap with my wrist to pull it away from the leads, off the weeds, all the way back to the boat. Again, we'll throw it out, feather that down before it hits the water, and then continue back to the boat again. And then you want to watch the movement that you're making with it. You know, if I'm just going through and it's hitting the weeds at certain points, and I'm pulling off and a fish grabs it, then that tells me that's a technique I want to use. Or maybe they want it to stop and then start again. What do I mean with that? So if I'm going down and I hit a weed right there, I stop it, let it come up, back down, hit a weed again, let it come up, and sometimes on that stop action, the fish will come up and swallow that crankbait. That's the flat bill crankbait. Another one I have here is a Bandit. Also, what I do on my crankbaits too is I keep them in my box for certain depths. So I know that flat bill will go to 1 to 3 feet deep. This one here will go up to about 7 feet, between 5 and 7 feet. I know that already. And then in tournaments, when I catch fish practicing, I'll put them crankbaits away in a special box that I only use for tournaments. I don't use them for practice or anything like that, because I know you could have 10 crankbaits, all the same color, same size and everything. One catches fish and the other one doesn't. Doesn't really make no rhyme or reason why. The next thing we have is one for weeds again, is a Rattletrap. And I do modifications to these again. I went to bigger hooks on it, and also I put a red hook on the front of this over here. This is going to come through the water. This one will sink to the bottom. So you throw it out, you got to actually move it pretty across the weeds. As it comes across the weeds, it's ticking the weeds. And again, that's what the fish are going to cause reaction strike to this lure with the weeds. Again, I'm fishing on 10-pound test, monofilament with a 7-foot rod. Bring it across the top of them weeds. Again, when we hit to the weeds, we'll snap it out of the weeds. And that could cause a strike. You can see it in the water. I don't know if you could see it with the camera or not, but as it moves through the water, you can see when I snap it what it does. You can see it flash when I jerk it out of them weeds. And that's the Rattletrap, and another good bait.
So rather than rubber ducks in your bathtub, you have crankbaits.
Yep. Yeah, my wife thinks I'm nuts, but every winter when I'm not hunting, we'll be fooling around with crankbaits or tying jigs, getting ready for fishing season to come up. You know, studying lake maps we do in the off season, but I really work with the crankbaits. Some of them I weight. I drill and I'll put weight inside the crankbaits to give it a different action. We'll color crankbaits, change the hooks, change the swivels, the snap rings. We do the whole gamut of things with them, you know what I mean?
So it's a bait that the varieties out there are endless, and so are the modifications.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yep. I mean, not all of them you have to modify. I just get more confidence in it. I think fishing, if you have the confidence in a lure, you'll catch more fish. Just because you'll fish it harder, I believe, and that's the key, I think.
Okay. Thanks, George. Yep.